Self, receive Sister Chantel Biddings.
Good morning, everyone. I am so honored to be here with you this morning. A special thank you to Missionary Sanders and to, of course, Mother Hughes. I am honored to be able to talk with you this morning about being your better self. Being your better self. And what starts off with being your better self is taking care of yourself. Self care is a necessity. So this morning, we're going to focus specifically on self care. Now, we know that we have been living in unprecedented times. Navigating the COVID-19 pandemic has created new challenges and new stressors that we have never faced before. And so I want to let you know today that it is okay if you are not okay. It is okay if you are having feelings that you've never had before, that maybe you have some feelings of anxiety or stressors that you have not encountered before. But today we are here to help you with being your better self. So if we think about the past year, it has been filled with many transitions that have been difficult for people to manage. 2020 will go down in history as one of the most traumatic years in modern history. A global pandemic emerged. We experienced multiple deaths and loss in a short amount of time, from the pulpit to the pew. We had to change the ways in which we work, the ways in which we go to school, even the ways in which we worship. Many have experienced unemployment, job loss, change in income, and we continue to be challenged as we go forward into 2021. So, how do we manage these stressors? How do we take better care of ourselves? Dr. Paula already discussed one of my favorite scriptures, which is 3 John 1 and 2, which says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." So we have to make sure that we are taking care of not only our souls, but our bodies and our minds and our emotions. So self-care starts with you. You have to make sure that you are making you a priority. As you go through life, ladies, I know it is easy to get caught up with making sure you take care of the children. You make sure you take care of the house. You make sure you take care of your husband. But where are you on the list of priorities? Are you even on the list at all? Self care means we are making sure that you put yourself back at the top of the list. Self care means that you are not being selfish, but you are making sure you're taking care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anyone else. Many of us are attempting to pour out of an empty pitcher. We are depleted, we are exhausted, we are empty, and we are in need of replenishing. At some point, we all will come to the end of ourselves and need more. This process begins and ends with making self care a priority. Self care is the process of nurturing yourself. And in this fast paced and often chaotic society, many people tend to put their needs on the back burner. How many times have you said, "Well, I need to do this for me. I need to exercise. I need a massage. I need some rest, but I have to do this first." Or, "But the kids need this." Or, "But I have to cook." Or, "But I have to do this or that." We know that we have the tendency to be multitaskers. And multitasking, even though you feel like you're getting so much done, multitasking is not healthy for your mind, for your body, for your emotions, for your spirit, because it divides up your attention and your focus. And so you're never giving 100% to whatever you're doing. So you have to remember that you have to put yourself first. You constantly put everyone else first, and your own needs suffer. If you think about your phone, your tablet, your laptop, you never let that battery go down to zero. But how many times do you look at your own internal battery and think that you need to recharge? You need to plug into the source and give yourself that extra needed boost of energy. We must take time to rest and to recharge. Resting is an action word. Resting has ing at the end of it for a reason. We know that any word with ing at the end means an action. So stop saying to people when you are resting that I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing. I'm just laying here. No, you are actively refueling, recharging, and replenishing yourself. Resting is doing something. You are definitely taking care of yourself. And that's what we have to be mindful of. Take time to rest. Now, there are many ways that we can take care of ourselves. And as we maneuver through life changes, it is vitally important that we learn to be mindful of us. Remember, every day you have to decide to choose you. Make yourself a priority. So, how do we manage our self care? There are many types of self care. The first one is your physical self care. And Dr. Barnes did an extremely wonderful job of talking about the importance of sleep. That's the first part of physical self care. We have to prioritize our sleep. Stretching is another part of physical self care. Walking, some kind of physical release or exercise, healthy food, yoga, stretching, and rest. The next part of your self-care is emotional self-care, which means stress management. And we talked about a little earlier this morning that sometimes when you need to get something done, that little boost of adrenaline helps you just to push past through it and get it done, even if it's at the last minute. But how many people know that we cannot continue to exist in a state of high stress? That's not helpful for anyone. So manage your stressors. There is not a time where everything will be in balance. Things don't always balance out. And so I know we hear the terms about work-life balance, but things have to work in your life in harmony, which means that sometimes the kids will require a little bit more and work will have to take a back seat. Sometimes your church will require a little bit more and other things have to take a back seat, but they have to work in harmony. Nothing will ever fully equal out where you're giving a bit of yourself in equal measures to every area of your life. But we have to learn to make the things in our life work well together. And that's what harmony means. They blend well and they sound good together. They work well together. So let's start pushing towards balance because that may not be attainable, but let's push towards things in our life working in harmony. The next part of emotional health is forgiveness. Forgiveness will keep you locked in emotional bondage. It will keep you stuck and it will keep you stagnant. A lot of times we are holding on to things that don't even belong to us. So let's start working and operating in forgiveness. 9 times out of 10, the person that you're holding the grudge against has forgotten about whatever occurred and they're moving on with their life happy and carefree, and you're still carrying that baggage. The next part of emotional self-care is learning to operate in compassion, kindness, and grace. A lot of times we are so very hard on ourselves. We are our own worst critic. Everyone may be patting you on your back and telling you what a good job you've done, but you are beating yourself up, telling yourself that you're not smart enough, you're not kind enough, you haven't achieved enough. We have to learn to extend grace to ourselves the same way that we extend it to everyone else. We're always willing to give everyone else a pass, but we're not willing to do the same thing for ourselves. So, a big part of emotional self care is extending grace to yourself. What does social self care look like? Social self care means that you set boundaries. It means that you learn how to say no. Saying no is probably one of the most powerful things that you can learn how to do. It means that you are not overextending yourself. You are not over obligating yourself. You are not running to and fro to things and places that you really don't want to go to. How many times do you find yourself saying yes to something when you know you do not have the time nor the energy, and sometimes not even the want to go and do those things? So learn how to say no. Learn how to set healthy boundaries. Learn how to say, no, I would love to come, but my schedule will not permit me to be there. I've already obligated myself to be someone else. Learn how to set healthy boundaries. That is a great measure of self-care. Learn how to utilize your support systems. Listen, if you need help, don't be so prideful that you cannot ask for it. Utilize your support system. Utilize your family and friends that you know are there to help you through this life journey. Use positive social media. We can look at Facebook, you can look at Instagram and all these things, but don't get caught up in comparing yourself to someone's highlight reel. What you see on social media are just the good things that people want you to see. Their highlight reel does not compare to your everyday life. So don't get caught up in comparing yourself and pushing yourself and doubting yourself to something that may not even be real. Use your time together with your family, with your friends, and learn to enjoy whatever state you are in. The next part of self-care is spiritual self-care. Make sure that you are setting aside some time to spend quietly, reading your word, meditating on your scripture, and just taking in the goodness of God. Spiritual self-care is so important. You can sit outside in nature, soak up some of that sunshine we've been talking about, journal, or create just a space that is sacred to you for you to sit and be with God and be with you. Those are types of self-care. How do we implement this on a day-to-day basis? So the first thing that you can do is take time every day to breathe, to pray, and to have a daily devotion. The second thing is to create a peaceful environment in your surroundings. Maybe you want to add some plants, add some pictures, add some words that bring you joy and comfort. Also, maybe aromatherapy. So get some smell goods around you, some great candles, some diffusers, things that make you feel great about your surroundings. Again, number 3, get enough rest. We cannot stress that enough. Rest is important for your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. Number 4, again, learn to say no. And number 5, stay connected. Although we are physically separated from each other, you don't have to be emotionally separated from people. So stay connected, even if it's virtually, like platforms on today. Make sure you are connecting with your family, your friends, and your church. We want you to stay connected to the body because we're able to support each other, we're able to lift each other up, and we're able to hold each other accountable for our self-care. So get you an accountability partner that is able to say, have you rested? Are you taking time for you? Are you taking care of you? What does your self-care look like? And that's how we build a better self. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.